Hi, today we have Citroen C-Elysée with 1.6 hdi engine. I'm going to show you how to change the clutch. I'm going to start by removing the battery. Next I'm going to pull out the ECU like this, and there are 3 bolts with 10mm wrench that hold the battery stand, and also I have to push these plastic clips that hold the wires. Next I'm going to open this nut here and this nut here with 13mm wrench to remove the metal bracket that holds the wire. Also I'm going to disconnect the grounding point, 13mm wrench. I'm going to disconnect the reverse light switch, and I'm going to disconnect the gear shift cables. I'm going to use some penetrating oil. I'm going to spray from the lower side of them, and after that I can try to pull them out from the ball joint. I have disconnected the gear shift cables. Also I have used some penetrating oil, and I have pressed this button here, and I have pulled out the gear shift cables from the mechanism. And after that I have opened 2 bolts here and here with 13mm wrench, and there is one nut at the back that can be opened with 11mm wrench. And also I have disconnected from this ball pin, and because I cannot remove from the vehicle, I have slided down at the exhaust. Next I'm going to open these 2 bolts with 13mm wrench, and also 1 bolt of the starter with 6mm hex wrench. Small correction, this bolt here is with 13mm wrench, and this nut over here is with 16mm wrench. Next I'm going to remove the air filter housing, because I will have to remove so I can support the engine on this side. So I'm going to disconnect the air meter. First I have to pull this orange pin, and after that I can pull this black pin and disconnect the air meter. And also I'm going to open these 2 bolts with 13mm wrench. We have to push the air filter housing towards the vehicle, and the back side you have to lower it down so you can remove from this sound barrier. Next I'm going to raise the vehicle, and I'm going to remove the front left wheel. Also I'm going to remove this bracket that holds the line for the clutch pump. This bolt can be opened with 11mm wrench. Next I'm going to remove this plastic splash guard. There are a couple of bolts with Torx 20 and 2 fast pins. Next I'm going to remove this metal crossbar. There are 2 bolts on each side that can be opened with a 16mm wrench. Also I'm going to open this bolt of the lower ball joint with 16mm wrench, remove the lower ball joint, and I'm going to remove the left drive shaft, and also I'm going to open this plug, and I'm going to drain the oil from the transmission. Next I'm going to disconnect the transmission mounting, 2 bolts with 13mm wrench. After draining the oil, I have removed the left drive shaft, return the plug, tighten it with 21mm wrench. Next I'm going to remove the 2 bolts of the starter. You can see the lower one, and the middle one can be removed from here. You can see on the top of the starter. They are also with 6mm hex wrench. I have removed the bolts from the starter. Next I'm going to remove the bolts from the transmission. So you can see there is 1 bolt here, 1 bolt here, 1 bolt here, and 1 nut here. Also there are 2 bolts with 10mm wrench from the clutch slave cylinder. And I think that the transmission will pass without removing the subframe. I will try. If it cannot pass, then I will have to remove the subframe. I just noticed 1 more bolt. It's right over here, and for this bolt you should remove the catalytic converter. I will try to remove the nut, and also I'm going to try to remove the bolt, so I can have space to remove the other bolt that holds the transmission with the engine. They can be opened with 13mm wrench, and this bolt can be opened with female Torx, probably 6 or 8. Now as you can see, I have removed the nut. After that I have removed the bolt with female Torx 7. And that way I have managed to get space, so I can remove the bolt for the transmission with the engine. So that one is loosened. Next I'm going to lower the vehicle, and I'm going to support the engine. I have removed the plastic hose from the turbocharger. 1 bolt here with 10mm wrench. As you can see, I have supported the engine. Next I'm going to open these 2 bolts that are holding the transmission mounting. They can be opened with 16mm wrench. After that I'm going to lower the engine with the transmission down, and I'm going to open these 3 bolts with Torx 50. The transmission is lowered in the level that I think is going to pass here. So now I'm going to raise the vehicle and see if I can remove the transmission without removing the subframe. With a little struggle and a little maneuvering, I have managed to remove the transmission. Also I had to remove 3 bolts from on this side of the right drive shaft with 13mm wrench, so I can lower the transmission. Next I'm going to open these 6 bolts with Torx 40 to remove the clutch pressure plate and clutch disc. So now you can see the clutch disc. On this side it's almost at the end, and on this side it's all the way to the metal parts. Also the clutch pressure plate is damaged here from the clutch release bearing. So now I'm going to install the new ones. Here I have new transmission kit that clutch kit that I'm going to install on the vehicle. I have clutch disc, clutch pressure plate, clutch release bearing. I have installed the clutch, tightened all 6 bolts with Torx 40. I have centered the clutch disc. Next I'm going to install the clutch release bearing. Also I'm going to install new clutch release fork because this plastic is damaged inside. I can see the metal. I'm going to put some grease inside and I'm going to install it with the release bearing. This is the part number of the fork. I have cleaned the transmission inside as much as I could. I have installed the new clutch release fork and also the clutch release bearing. So now I'm going to put the transmission back into the vehicle. After little maneuvering, I have managed to put the transmission inside the vehicle. There is a lot of much more work to remove the subframe, but it will be much more easy to remove and install the transmission. So I leave it to everyone's choice to choose how they would like to do the job. Next I'm going to start tightening the bolts. Here we have one nut with 16mm wrench, and on this side we have 3 bolts with 13mm wrench. I have tightened all the bolts that hold the transmission with the engine. Next I'm going to return the bolt for the DPF filter. Also after that I'm going to install the nut, tighten it with 13mm wrench, and I'm going to return the radial seal on the drive shaft on this side, 3 bolts with 13mm wrench. After tightening all the bolts, also I have installed the 2 bolts of the starter with 6mm hex wrench. I have lowered the vehicle and I'm going to install the aluminum mounting on the transmission, 3 bolts with Torx 50, and after that I'm going to connect with the rubber mounting, 2 bolts with 16mm wrench. After tightening the transmission with the rubber mounting, I have removed the engine support. Next I'm going to install these 2 bolts, 1 bolt and 1 nut. The bolt can be tightened with 13mm wrench and the nut with 16mm wrench. And also we have 1 bolt from the starter with 6mm hex wrench. I have installed also the metal holder for the wires, 2 nuts with 13mm wrench, connected the reverse light switch. Next I'm going to install the plastic bracket for the gear shift cables, and I'm going to connect the cables. I have installed the plastic bracket, 2 bolts with 13mm wrench, and the other one, there is a nut at the back on this side. That one can be tightened with 11mm wrench. Also I have connected the cables, clicked the mechanism, And next I'm going to raise the vehicle. I'm going to install the left drive shaft, the transmission mounting. If install the drive shaft, install the lower ball joint, tighten the center bolt with 30 mm wrench. Next I'm going to install the clutch slave cylinder, 2 bolts with 10 mm wrench. If install the clutch slave cylinder, also I have installed this metal crossbar, 4 bolts with 16 mm wrench. Next I'm going to lower the vehicle. I'm going to install this plastic cover. I'm going to install the wheel and finish the work on the top side of the engine. I have lowered the vehicle. I have installed this bolt on the metal bracket for the plastic hose for the slave cylinder, and I have opened this plug with 17 mm wrench. Now I'm going to refill with oil. I'm going to use new oil 7580, and to refill it I need 2 liters of oil. I have refilled the transmission with oil, return the plug. Next I'm going to install the battery stand, the air filter housing, turbocharger plastic pipe. I have put back everything together, install the battery, so now I can start the engine and I can try the clutch. Now the clutch pedal is very easy to press. This is the original clutch. First time it's been replaced. I can say it's a good mileage. The clutch is working perfectly. So this means that I am finished. If you like to see more videos, please subscribe to my channel, like my videos, and thank you for watching.